Right now on Morning News Now, Donald Trump disqualified. This morning, controversy in Colorado now spreading beyond state lines after the Colorado Supreme Court ruled Trump ineligible to run for president because of his role in the January 6th insurrection. We'll break down the first of its kind decision to kick him off the state's primary ballot, plus reaction and why the case could go all the way to the nation's highest court. Also this morning, a battle at the border over an unprecedented surge in migrant crossings.
How much longer can you keep up?
No, we can't. We can't. I don't have the resources. I won't have the space. Where I want to put them.
And in Washington, a stalemate in the Senate over funding for border security. We will bring you the latest. And we're tracking housing market hopes after a tough year for real estate, what buyers and sellers can expect in the new year. Plus, we're talking about success and struggles with Grammy-nominated artist Gail, who shot to stardom 2 years ago and hasn't stopped since. We get candid about everything from her breakthrough single, mental health challenges, and how it all led to a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to tour with the one and only Taylor Swift. Just imagine how I felt speaking with
no kidding. Who's been there? She has Taylor Swift ties. She has Barbie ties.
I know, and
she
is
get bigger than that.
Truly just so fantastic. I feel like she's my friend now. I just love her. Like I'm so excited to share this conversation.
Looking forward to that conversation. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to start our show this morning with this historic legal decision that could have a major impact on the 2024 election.
In an unprecedented ruling yesterday, Colorado Supreme Court disqualified Donald Trump from appearing on the state's upcoming Republican primary ballot because of his alleged role in the January 6th insurrection. It was a 4-3 decision based on a little-known provision in the Constitution, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It's the first time that provision has been used to rule a presidential candidate ineligible for office. A spokesperson for the Trump campaign called the decision, quote, flawed, and said in part, we will swiftly file an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court and a concurrent request for a stay of this deeply undemocratic decision. We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor. NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard and NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos join us now with more on this big breaking story this morning. Vaughn, let's start with you. So walk us through this ruling by Colorado Supreme Court, how it came to this decision.
Number one, this was Section 3 of the 14th Amendment was added to the Constitution after the Civil War to prevent Confederate soldiers or generals from serving in the United States Congress. And I think that that is the important context where you said that this has not been used to rule any candidate ineligible since. But what you saw from the Colorado Supreme Court, this is not the only state where this lawsuit is working its way through the courts, but they are the first to rule against Donald Trump. And in the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, it said whoever incites, sets foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the U.S. or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years, or shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Right now, we expect Donald Trump to appeal this to the U.S. Supreme Court. Colorado, their election is on March 5th, so we should expect them to make a decision perhaps before then, but could very well happen after that as well, which would have general election implications.
Danny, let's bring you in here and talk the legal side of this. I mean, just first, what's your reaction to this ruling? Were you surprised by what we saw?
I think objectively, everybody was surprised. If you look at the numbers, virtually every other, about 18 other of these challenges have not been successful. And then you look at the court's opinion itself. It was not unanimous, not by a long shot. It was a pretty close call, and there are some pretty forceful dissents written in this opinion. So this is, at the least, an issue that reasonable minds, including reasonable judicial minds, disagreed on. And in fact, the opinion even lays out conveniently bullet points on its holdings at the front end of the opinion. And you can guarantee that those are going to be the bullet points that the Trump team is planning to appeal.
So, Danny, those who dissented in this Colorado Supreme Court, they basically cited due process, said, Trump has not been convicted of a crime yet. Is that something that the conservative majority of the U.S. Supreme Court might lean into if the decision is appealed? What could the U.S. Supreme Court do here?
Yes, there's that point. There's the point of, is Donald Trump, is he an officer under the meaning of the 14th Amendment? And when you just look at the text of the 14th Amendment, it's pretty amazing. They list almost every other job in the federal government, including the vice president, except the president. But then there's a catch-all phrase that says any officer who takes an oath. And that catch-all phrase boy, those catch-all phrases in the law can really vex us. Because, again, it's the framers were simply not clear as to what they wanted. So now we're left hundreds of years later deciding whether or not, when they omitted the word president from the 14th Amendment in that section, the disqualification clause, did they mean to omit the president completely? Or are they saying, hey, look, he's included in the officer who takes an oath category, even if we didn't specifically call him out by name? That's just one example of an appealable issue, and there are many. And now the Supreme Court may decide that the Colorado Supreme Court got everything right and affirmed them. But there are a lot of avenues for appeal in this case, and they'll all be looked at what's called de novo. In other words, the Supreme Court is not likely to give a lot of deference to the lower state court. And by lower, I mean the highest state court in the land of Colorado, but a lower court considering the Supreme Court.
Vaughn, let's put a pin in the appeal for a moment. Let's say this decision is upheld. What does that mean for primaries right around the corner, the election itself, and also, should it be upheld, do you think we see this happen elsewhere?
It would most likely, if the U.S. Supreme Court rules against Donald Trump, it would most likely remove him from the ballot in every state across the country. That would upend this 2024 presidential election. And I think that's where the timing of this, the hypothetical of it, is important, because March 5th, the day of the Colorado primary, is known as Super Tuesday in the Republican primary. About 1/3 of the delegates that are going to go toward deciding who the Republican nominee is are voted on that day. It's not just Colorado voting here. And so if you're the likes of Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, maybe you see the polling numbers, you were considering getting out of this presidential race. Well, perhaps it's worthwhile to wait around a little bit longer to see how the Supreme Court rules, because next July is when the delegates at the Republican National Convention will choose their presidential nominee. But if the Supreme Court rules that he's ineligible, everything is up in the air for the Republicans at that point.
Vaughn, Danny, thank you so much for kicking us off this hour with some breaking news. We appreciate it.
A Senate bill that would fund security at the southern border and provide billions in aid to Israel and Ukraine is going to have to wait until after the holidays.
Yeah, after hours of closed-door negotiations between lawmakers and the Biden administration, both sides say more time is needed to actually pass legislation. Passing an aid package through Congress was highly unlikely since the House of Representatives is already on holiday recess. Well, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's optimistic negotiations will continue over the funding bill.
As negotiators work through remaining issues, it is our hope that their efforts will allow the Senate to take swift action on the National Security Supplemental early in the new year. In the time remaining this year, Senate and administration negotiators will continue to work in good faith towards finalizing their agreement.
Let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale and NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley for the latest here. Good morning to both of you. Ali, I will begin with you. This was really considered to be a long shot effort to pass a funding bill before the Christmas holiday. When we talked yesterday, you didn't sound too optimistic. We didn't necessarily think it was going to happen. So what are we now hearing from Senate leaders as the bill has stalled, at least for now?
Look, they're trying to continue to sound optimistic notes, but it's clear that this is going nowhere fast, and certainly not before the end of the year, as Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had initially hoped and intended for it to. That's because when they come back in January, they've got a long to-do list. But look, this was always going to be a long shot because there are a few more complicated and thorny political issues in Washington than immigration. You lump that with foreign aid, and you've got a really sticky situation. Here's more of how the Majority Leader was talking about these negotiations and where they go next.
Bipartisan border security negotiations are essential to the Senate's efforts to address critical national security priorities. Our colleagues are making encouraging progress on this front. Challenging issues remain, but we are committed to addressing needs at the southern border and to helping allies and partners confront serious threats in Israel, Ukraine, and the Indo-Pacific.
And so, look, Schumer there again, sounding optimistic, releasing that rare joint statement with his counterpart on the Republican side, Mitch McConnell, who has been clear that they need to get this money out the door to Ukraine and to Israel to continue to support our allies on the world stage. But again, all of this is wrapped up together, and it's not looking like it's going to happen before the end of the year. The Senate should be getting out of town today.
Julia, let's bring you in here. So a U.S. appeals court on Tuesday at least temporarily blocked the Biden administration from destroying a razor wire fencing that's along the U.S.-Mexico border. We know this is something that CBP, that Customs and Border Protection, wanted removed. What more should we know about this ruling and what could happen next?
Well, first, I'll tell you about the wire. I've stood right there, especially right along the Rio Grande River in Eagle Pass, Texas. I've been there as hundreds of migrants are coming across. We know that very crossing saw over 3,000. That area saw over 3,000 just on Monday. And so what would happen is the Border Patrol would try to cut the razor wire to allow oftentimes women carrying children and people in desperate situations to get across. Texas said, no, you can't cut that wire. We put that there. We're protecting our land. So it's been this question about property rights and also what could be getting in the way of national security and Customs and Border Protection doing their job. So far, this has gone just the same way those border buoys went, where the Western District of Texas says it agrees with the Biden administration that the razor wire needs to be removed, just like the buoys were removed. But then that Fifth Circuit, very conservative appeals court, overrules that and says that, no, the Biden administration can't have these removed. The wire needs to stay where it is. Border Protection can't touch it unless there's some, extreme circumstances. It needs to stay there. And in both cases, we can expect this to go to the Supreme Court and have this showdown over really who's in control here at the southern border and whether or not Texas can put these razor wire or buoys in place.
Ali, let's turn back to Congress on this, but other issues. I mean, when they come back from the holiday break in a couple weeks, it's not just this. It's not just the border issue, which, by the way, is also tied up in this foreign aid funding. Yeah. It's also a looming government shutdown. I mean, how are both of these things going to be tackled?
It's going to be fun. I think for those of us in Congress, we know that it's going to be a busy season. And I think there's also some real skepticism about what they can actually viably get done. Because, yes, these negotiations are continuing. Our understanding is that they'll even continue today. The key negotiators are still in the room having their conversations about what this could look like. But again, even if you start the year with a strong framework that has support on the Senate side, that's nothing to say of how House Republicans will react to the bill that's ultimately brokered. They will, of course, have their own opinions on that. And then the other looming issue that actually has its own deadline is the government shutdown, which is now not going to be done in one phase, but two over the course of January and February. Our understanding from my sources is that we don't even have a top line number for appropriators to be building towards in these 12 key appropriations bills. So we're back to the drawing board on government funding as well. All of these issues are difficult for both parties, but certainly House Republicans have been vehement that they want restrictions on the border in order to go along with foreign funding. And they've been very outspoken about the idea of how the government is funded. If they don't see sufficient cuts or that dreaded word continuing resolution, if that's something that the Speaker actually seriously starts talking about, we could have a whole new set of problems that aren't even officially on the to-do list for this Congress in January.
Allie and I have different definitions of fun. All right, Allie and Julia.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Well, there's new hope this morning for a second potential ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. Hamas political leaders are in Egypt to discuss how they intend to move forward. Israeli officials say they are also willing to resume negotiations for another humanitarian pause. This all comes as the U.S. faces mounting pressure to persuade Israel to change its military approach in Gaza. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter has the details.
Good morning. That's right. A couple major headlines that we are watching out of the region. Israel intensified its airstrikes in Gaza overnight. We have some new pictures coming out of the enclave. We also know from the Israeli Air Force, they say they struck Hezbollah militant targets to the north inside Lebanese territory. But the major headline we are watching very closely at this hour is a possible new deal. We know there's been mounting pressure at the negotiating table this week. The CIA director was in Poland, as we reported, meeting with Israeli and Qatari officials this week. Now, earlier this week, the White House expressed optimism, and there are already the beginning of some very optimistic reports this morning in Israeli press. NBC News has not yet confirmed any deal or anything that the two sides have agreed on yet. Now, this comes as nearly 130 hostages remain inside Gaza. We saw that video Hamas released earlier this week showing 3 elderly hostages, including on the right there, 80-year-old Yoram Metzger. Our Richard Engel spoke with his son, Guy. Take a listen.
He looks very, very tired. He looks very sick, also his friends. we are really, really worried about their condition.
And this morning in Gaza, new strikes in the central city of Deir al-Balah, and the grim milestone of nearly 20,000 people killed inside Gaza since October 7th. That may be reached today, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. It is day 75. And the other thing we're really watching, especially from Washington, the spillover from this war, also a major concern for the U.S. America is now leading an effort to protect the key Red Sea shipping route against the threats from Iranian-backed Houthi militias based in Yemen. The threat so high that our colleagues actually at NBC are reporting that nearly $35 billion in cargo have been diverted. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Molly, thank you so much.
It was a final farewell for Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to ever serve on the Supreme Court. She was honored yesterday at Washington's National Cathedral. President Biden was one of many paying tribute to an icon who empowered generations of women. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has that story.
Gracious and wise, civil and principled,
President Joe Biden at Washington's National Cathedral, paying tribute to the late Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor.
the pioneer in her own right, breaking down the barriers in legal and political worlds.
The first woman to serve on the High Court, eulogized by the Chief Justice, who as a young lawyer helped her prepare for a unanimous Senate confirmation in 1981.
She had to find her own style to cajole, persuade, and unite colleagues when there was no example to follow.
O'Connor was the consensus builder on a deeply divided court, but she resisted the swing vote label.
She would say, that sounds fickle.
Her biographer recalling how she wooed her colleagues to lunch.
Not to talk about cases or argue over the law, but to get to know each other. She was the glue.
The glue for her family as well, according to her son, Jay.
She did it all, organizing the household, outstanding cooking, grocery shopping, getting the kids where we needed to be, all while still achieving extraordinary things at work.
O'Connor died earlier this month at 93, leaving detailed instructions from the speakers to today's music for her final send-off.
She also wrote her final message to her sons. Our purpose in life is to help others along the way. May you each try to do the same.
Laura Jarrett, NBC News.
What a legacy. Well, heavy rain and snow are expected to hit the West Coast thanks to a brewing weather system.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman has latest forecast. Angie, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. We've got a couple things to talk about, and it comes in the form of rain, snow, and wind, and it's mainly focused on the West Coast over the next couple of days. Right now, though, we have 22 million people included in these flood alerts that are up. That bright green is a flood watch. It does include major cities of San Diego, Los Angeles, and all the way up into San Luis Obispo. This is going to be something that you see last likely through the day today, potentially into tomorrow, as we have a couple of different waves of rain working close to the California coast. Here's the deal right now. You can see the radar across the southwest. We've got some showers happening across parts of Arizona and definitely up and down the coast of California. And there's more to come. There's the system that we're going to watch inch closer to the coast here over the next 48 hours. It brings a couple periods of heavy rain. It'll bring some additional snowfall up through the Sierras and such. And by the time we get through basically Thursday and into Friday, we have the potential to see mudslides, especially on those burn scar areas, and the flooding concern. Now, that rain will eventually spread into parts of the desert southwest as we get into Friday. Late, especially, that will impact folks in southern Nevada and Arizona. So it'll be there that we'll watch for some impacts when it comes to travel as we get into Friday. But some of these places across portions of California could pick up to 10 inches of rain. So again, the mudslides and the flooding concern will be real over the next couple of days. We've got the potential for 2 feet of snow, but that mostly comes at the higher elevations, and that lasts through Friday. This is the area, though, that we're going to watch for that potential for the debris flows, like I said, in the burn scar areas, Santa Barbara, LA, right in those mountains near there. Here's the travel impacts, though. I think if you're traveling tomorrow or Friday on the roads, it's going to be the 5, the 15, those spots, maybe across portions of Arizona, Interstate 10. But then the airports, we could see some iffy conditions in Seattle and Portland because of rain, guys, but it's really those California airports that are going to have trouble, including in that Phoenix, too.
You didn't want to go home for Christmas, did you?
Stop it.
It's low.
Are you jinxing her?
Say that.
I think
I do know the 5 and
reverse
the
there,
15
right?
well, though, so it sounds like it won't be.
Those are always a mess anyway.
Exactly. Thanks so much.
No
Much more to come here on Morning News now later this hour. It's sophisticated technology with complicated consequences. We're going to look back at what has been a huge year for AI.
Up first, though, when we come back, Ukraine's president getting candid about the state of the war with Russia, what he had to say in a rare end-of-the-year address. We'll be right back.
We're back with breaking news out of New Jersey, where a TV news helicopter crashed, killing 2 people on board.
Yeah, the crash happened in Hamilton in southern New Jersey, where officials say Chopper 6, which flies for the ABC affiliate station in Philadelphia, crashed Tuesday night. The pilot and a photographer were both killed in the crash. No names have been released as family members are still being notified, but our condolences, of course, to everyone at the station as well as their families.
Thinking of those families of journalists. Let's return to the Biden administration's efforts to get Congress to authorize that additional $60 billion in aid to Ukraine. The money would help Ukraine's military with supplies and fund humanitarian aid efforts for people displaced by the violence. At a press conference in Kyiv, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters that he needs the money to train an additional 500,000 troops as Russia promises to not give up what they say is theirs. NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber has more.
The war in Ukraine is far from over, but one of the most significant streams of aid could be coming to an end. A dire warning from the White House. Money to support the war in Ukraine is out.
We have one more security assistance package available to us before the end of this year, before we run out of replenishment authority to replenish the stocks and the inventories.
And unless Congress approves additional aid before the end of the year, the United States will not be able to send Ukraine support it so desperately needs. The U.S. has already allocated more than $100 billion to Ukraine, military and humanitarian aid, since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in early 2022.
We can't let Putin win.
But President Biden wants Congress to approve another $60 billion. Republicans are skeptical and say they won't approve more funding without changes to the U.S.'s border and immigration policies. Ukraine is desperate. A top general told Reuters they've already had to scale back some military operations. At a 2-hour press conference, President Volodymyr Zelensky flatly denied suggestions that Ukraine is losing this war, but acknowledged the challenges of fighting a nation with significantly more resources, from weapons to troop levels.
And I'm confident that the United States will not let us down, and what we have agreed in the United States will be fulfilled in full.
Last week, Ukraine's former defense minister, Andriy Zahornyuk, told NBC News it's disappointing that internal politics in the U.S. are impacting Ukraine.
And we understand that there is a political process and so on. It's just like they need to remember that every day or months of delayed assistance, that's somebody's lives on stake. That the fact that some politicians don't realize that, that's quite concerning, I have to say.
Meanwhile, Russia is carrying on. President Vladimir Putin claims he is willing to negotiate and talk about Ukraine, but accused the U.S. of, quote, dragging Russia and Europe into this conflict on purpose.
Our thanks to Ellison Barber for that story. More international news now, starting with that volcano in Iceland we told you about yesterday, still erupting this morning.
That's right. NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Labanga is going to tell us the latest as well as other world headlines. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. Well, that's right. That volcano is still feeling pretty fired up, but at least officials over there are saying that the intensity of those eruptions are decreasing since, or have decreased since they started on Monday. Now, the volcano is located about 2 miles north of a town called Grindavik. Residents have been anticipating these eruptions for a while now, even braving thousands of small earthquakes that rattled the region over the last few weeks. Officials are saying that people are not currently in danger, but they have closed all traffic in the area close to the volcano. Officials also say the seismic activity could go on for months. Now let's travel over to Congo, where nearly 45 million people have the chance to pick their next president. This election comes amid a massive ongoing humanitarian crisis in the eastern region. Millions have died and been displaced after decades of fighting. Some reports suggest fears about the credibility of this year's election because of those major population losses. Now, the international community also has their eyes on the country, which holds rare minerals needed amid rising demands for electric cars and solar panels. Right now, current President Felix Tshisekedi is out for a second term. The results aren't in, but the polls are currently leaning in his favor. After decades of war, this is only the fourth time the community has been able to vote for their leader. And we end this tour of the world in Japan with the magic of AI and a little mind reading. Japanese researchers have developed what they are calling a brain decoding technology. It can translate human brain activity into pictures. Now, Savannah and Joe, this is the picture their brain mapping technology came up with. Not sure what or who this person was thinking about, but you can make out a mouth, ears, and a nose in this photo. And researchers say this is the first time humans have been able to get inside a person's mind. Well, they wouldn't find anything exciting in my mind right now. All I'm thinking about is food. It's lunchtime right here.
Maybe if you stand on one foot, squint, and yeah.
Goat? Is it a horse?
It's kind of like donkey-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Thanks, Claudia.
Thanks. I mean, I couldn't draw anything better than that. So.
Coming up, controversy in the classroom. Some parents voicing concerns about certain educational videos being shown to students. When we come back, why critics say the videos have a hidden political agenda.
Plus, an NBC News exclusive, the White House now one step closer to launching a clean energy program. The latest on that next on Morning News Now.
We are back now with the controversy over particular educational videos that are gaining popularity in several states across the country. There's a growing concern that those videos with billions of views are being used as a tool to push political agendas. Here's NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton with the details.
What does it mean to be feminine?
Your kids may have seen these videos online.
Embrace the idea of being a wife or a mother.
Educational videos on everything from culture to history to climate.
Without fossil fuels, much of the world's population would starve to death in a year.
This is PragerU, not an actual accredited university, but rather a, quote, pro-American education nonprofit with growing school partnerships in New Hampshire, Florida, and Oklahoma.
It's called edutainment.
According to CEO Marissa Straight, their videos are an answer to an education system too focused on diversity and gender. In this Los Angeles studio, PragerU's artists focus on American exceptionalism.
They feel like they're serving on the front lines of saving the war of ideas in America.
Since the pandemic, PragerU says it has more than doubled revenue and reached nearly 10 billion views of their videos. Founder Dennis Prager has been a controversial radio show host for years.
If you're spending a good part of the day teaching kids about preferred pronouns and other what we call woke issues, then you're really not teaching them.
What I hear from teachers of every background is that they are slammed from block to block. They are underpaid, they are underappreciated, and that they don't even have time to talk about pronouns, gender theory, critical race theory. You can point to here or there.
I don't believe that they're telling you the truth. I actually think they're lying to you.
In Oklahoma, some teachers like Gabe Woolley are using PragerU in the classroom. We watched Prager's video.
Here's the first thing you need to know.
A short history of slavery together.
After centuries of human slavery, white men led the world in putting an end to the abhorrent practice.
She's giving credit mostly to white people right now for ending it before the acknowledgement of the pain that some of your students might actually know about and feel in their families, right?
Right. And there's a lot of content that we cover that does cover that aspect. But what we almost never talk about is the reality of slavery happening almost since the beginning of time to the end of time.
A few minutes down the road, families like the Reyes, who are a mix of white, Choctaw, and Mexican American, say the broader culture war playing out in schools is hurting teachers.
We trust our people, right? We trust our educators. Like we said, I mean, this is our community.
We showed them some of PragerU's videos designed for kids.
300,000 Union soldiers, overwhelmingly white, who died during the Civil War.
Zoe is in 5th grade.
Something that I noticed was
No other culture did anything. No other culture died. No other culture tried to stop slavery, which I know that isn't true.
That's extremely concerning to me because it's, so much inaccuracy with things.
What would a good American education system look like to you?
Like it did in the 1930s, minus anything that was offensive.
All the bad things going on in the 1930s.
You're right. Minus the bad things. Yes, that's correct.
Looks good.
A vision he's now trying to bring to schools nationwide. Antonia Hilton, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Also this morning, an exclusive report from NBC News. The Biden administration is one step closer to launching its American Climate Corps program.
After experiencing some setbacks in Congress, the administration now says it has unlocked funding for the program, which was created to employ thousands of young Americans in the clean energy, conservation, and climate resilient sectors. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us now with more on these details. Hey, Monica, good to see you. So what do we know about the American Climate Corps and its purpose?
Well, this is an ambitious project from the administration, Savannah and Joe, and one that they're trying to model after something that took place in the 1930s under President Roosevelt and that Conservation Corps. And this is really going to work across a lot of different agencies. And they are hoping, because of the big interest that they saw when they put this out as a program from young people, that it will be quite successful. We know that at least 50,000 people in every single state, some of them expressed interest in signing up for this, but they're still figuring out exactly how this is going to work, but they're encouraged by these early signs.
So, Monica, we know the administration tried to fund this through the Inflation Reduction Act, which passed Congress last year. That funding was ultimately dropped from the final version. So how are they going to pay for it now?
Yeah, they have to get creative here, Joe, and what they're doing essentially is they're going agency by agency to try to use some existing funding. For instance, the EPA has a grant that they are already working on that they're going to try to use some of the money for that to establish a couple of these programs in different states. So we know there are a few that are already doing that, so they're hoping to expand that, specifically when it comes to some environmental justice programs, which young people could begin to be a part of as soon as next summer if this works.
Monica, I know the administration announced these virtual listening sessions gearing up to this expected launch. What's that about? What are those? What's the goal from those to start talking to people about this?
And that's what they're going to see happen here soonest. They're going to do these listening sessions to try to get a sense of what young people are most interested in being a part of and how it could work and how they could make it work with their lives and some of these communities that need it most. So what they're saying is we're going to do the listening sessions so we can try to meet people where they are and find where the need may be greatest. And then again, start there before probably expanding it to go nationwide. But the administration says if people are still interested, they should still look for more information on this, which they hope to have in the new year. Savannah and Joe.
All right, Monica Alba, thank you so much for that exclusive report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, a glimmer of hope for the housing market. Up next, we're going to look back on what was a challenging year for real estate. One of our favorite financial gurus, Caleb Silver, is here to explain why 2024 could look a lot better.
We can get a bobblehead right there too, right? We're also reflecting on the AI revolution, the good, the bad, how more on how the advanced technology is presenting some problems. You're watching Morning News Now. Welcome back. Well, it was a rough year for the real estate market, from high mortgage rates to rising home prices, low existing home sales. Home buyers face numerous challenges in 2023, but are we in for a rebound in the new year? Well, for more on this, we've got Caleb Silver, our friend and editor-in-chief of Investopedia. Love to have you here. As always, Caleb, good to see you. So the other thing, though, that's interesting is while we have these existing home sales down, I know now new home construction is on the rise. Kind of a mixed bag in some cases. Just tell us, what are you expecting? I mean, is 2024 going to be a better year for real estate?
It's going to be a better year, and hopefully it begins in the spring. A reawakening of the housing market. Why? Because mortgage rates are finally starting to fall. Down below 7% for the first time in a long time. We're at around 6.8%. You crack the 7% number, you get more activity. So you're seeing construction of new homes. Why? Because the existing homes are too expensive for first-time homeowners to buy. The average median price now, $408,000 when you look across the country. That's very expensive, especially if you have to afford that 30-year fix. But the mortgage rate's going to come down. New home sales, new home construction should allow these people to buy into these new homes.
I know that, like, back in 2021, when we were at like 3% mortgage rate, that was also very, very low. Like, it's also not, you know, what my parents got when they bought a house and that type of thing. So is this going to be a good year if you're the person who's kind of waiting it out, thinking, God, they were so low in 2021 and 7%? I mean, do you see this continuing to fall, and to fall how low?
Yeah, we're not going back to 3%. We're probably not going back to 4%. Probably the 5 to 5.5% range, which is a little bit more normal for the housing market. You mentioned your parents, our parents. Anybody that bought in the 70s and 80s gets mad at you when you say mortgage rates are so high. They were 14% back then. So there's that issue. But supply is so tight because nobody has sold in the past year or two, because half of U.S. homeowners have mortgage rates below 5%. Where are they going? So you have this problem with little supply, high prices, and those high mortgage rates. They're going to ease, and that's going to open the housing market a little bit.
Let's talk about specific markets. I mean, what's interesting to you in terms of affordability, cities that people might be moving to, or maybe getting more expensive because of that?
Yeah, if you're looking for affordability, you have to look in the Midwest. We're talking about Green Bay. We're talking about Wichita. We're talking about Rapid City, South Dakota. That's where home affordability.
I love Rapid City.
Yes, good city. Town. Great towns throughout the Midwest. That's where home affordability is at its best. The least affordability is in places like California, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Santa Monica, Boulder, Colorado. Here in New York City, obviously tight supply, high prices, high demand.
Coach Prime didn't help us out in Boulder either. Huh?
No.
I know. Two of my cities on that expensive list. Caleb Silver, thank you very much. Happy home buying, everybody. Happy holidays, Caleb. Great to have you. Well, sticking with money news, after years of talks, Southwest and its pilots union are landing on a new deal. NBC's Silvana now has that and other financial headlines for us this morning. Hey, Silvana.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. Yes, so Southwest Airlines has reached a tentative contract deal with its pilots after more than 3 years of talks. And it's the last major U.S. airline to reach an agreement with the pilots union. Terms haven't been disclosed, but pilots at American, Delta, and United won raises of about 40% over the life of their contracts. The deal comes after flight attendants at Southwest rejected a tentative contract following more than 5 years of talks. Rite Aid has been banned from using facial recognition technology for surveillance in its stores for 5 years as part of a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission. The drugstore chain used the technology from 2012 to 2020 to help identify shoplifters, but the FTC alleges it falsely flagged some customers as matching someone who had previously been identified as a shoplifter. An investigation by Reuters found Rite Aid quietly added facial recognition to hundreds of stores, and in New York and Los Angeles use the technology largely in lower-income, non-white neighborhoods. And Americans who owe back taxes may now have an incentive to pay up. The IRS will waive nearly $1 billion in late payment penalties. More than 4.5 million individual taxpayers who owe for the 2020 and 2021 tax years will be eligible. The IRS is extending the olive branch because it stopped sending out many collection letters during the pandemic, which it hoped would reduce its backlog. People who are eligible will get a special notice next month, Savannah.
Oh, there you go. Oof. Yeah. And then we're already in tax season. I know. All right, Silvana, thank you so much. Sure. Well, 2023 was a big year for artificial intelligence. We have seen the rise of ChatGPT, AI entering all kinds of new worlds, from entertainment to the medical field. Some of you might even be using it at work. But there are a lot of questions, a lot of debate for sure over how the technology should proceed and, importantly, how to regulate it. Sinead Bovell, futurist and founder of Way, joins us now with a look at what we've learned from AI and what we can expect for 2024. Sinead, good morning. Great to have you with us. Let's start on ChatGPT, I think, because I think this is one of those ones that maybe viewers at home, maybe viewers at home's kids have gotten really comfortable with. It's kind of just something that people use quite a bit now, whether it be to help on homework or to help on responding to an email at work. And it seemed to be this real catalyst when it came to AI this year. Help us understand how this technology became so mainstream and what you expect to see happen with this particular type of AI in the next year.
You're absolutely right. The launch of ChatGPT, it has really ignited a gold rush within the industry. It's become a household name, which is quite incredible. AI is now part of mainstream public discourse as a result of this technology. And let's not forget, just last year, or the beginning of this year, when we were talking about ChatGPT, it was a system that could generate text. It is now an AI system that can see, hear, and speak. So the pace of AI innovation over the course of the year has also been remarkable. And when you look globally, in some ways, AI has become the new space race, and the launch of ChatGPT has a lot to do with that ignition.
Absolutely. The other thing, though, like, let's talk about the other side of this, right? Like maybe some of the scary stuff. Some AI scientists have warned that technology's unchecked progress could lead to dire consequences. We've seen some things also that are a little bit bizarre, like speaking of OpenAI, this company, their CEO, Sam Altman, him leaving, coming back. That's a nonprofit. What was that about? You know, there's a lot of questions, but other people say that those concerns are being blown out of proportion. Where do you think we're going to kind of land on that debate in 2024? And might we learn anything new that is concerning?
Yes, I don't think we are going to land or have a unified version or verdict of the AI safety debate over the next year. In fact, I think the more AI improves and progresses, the louder and more polarizing these views on AI safety will become. You have the one camp that believes existential risk and superintelligence is the most important risk we need to be paying attention to. You have others that believe this is overblown, it's kind of nonsense, let's keep innovating at a faster pace. And then you have those that say AI safety today, the harms, biases, discrimination, that's where we need to focus. So I think these camps are going to continue to become more polarized the more AI can do over the year. I think the EU coming down with their AI, the AI Act, I think will be helpful in some ways in providing a blueprint for countries globally on how to proceed with regulation. But I don't see the debates regarding AI safety and the real risk subsiding anytime soon, and definitely not over the next year.
Yeah, let's talk about regulation. And to be frank, and no disrespect to our elected officials, but I've been in the room in Senate hearings when we're discussing different types of technology, and honestly, some of the questions just don't seem like there's a full understanding. And look, I don't blame them. None of us, I think, fully understand AI, but when the regulation is coming, through channels such as that, where it's people who are kind of even just trying to wrap their head around it, what do you think we can expect to see? And do you think it will be enough? And is it happening quickly enough?
I actually think compared to the internet and social media, talks about AI regulation are at least happening. We know, for instance, Senator Schumer has been convening a lot of important dialogues and conversations around AI regulation. We know the Biden administration put out their AI executive order. Of course, that's not non-binding, but it is directional. So I do think the governments are trying, and they're trying to proceed. Will it be fast enough based on the pace of innovation with AI? I'm not so sure. And now that the United States and many countries are heading into an election year, I don't know if we land at all on regulation in 2024. That might be something that continues to get kicked down the road.
Speaking, though, of an election year, this is where these concerns can really sort of raise their head, right? Things that, you know, you're just thinking, oh, I use ChatGPT for homework. But that same type of technology can fuel misinformation about candidates and campaigns, not to even get into the idea of deep fakes, which is basically these videos that make a candidate seem to say something that maybe they never actually said. What do you think AI's role will be in 2024, and how much of this is going to be on voters to try to be diligent in identifying false information?
I think we are bound to see some form of AI social engineering and disinformation, misinformation in 2024 regarding elections. Let's not forget, there are over 50 elections happening globally, impacting over 4 billion people. This is one of the most significant in terms of quantity election years in history. So we are bound to see some stories. And it's not just deep fakes. We could also see stories where footage emerges of a candidate and it's actually true, but they use the threat of AI and say, you know, maybe this is AI generated to sow distrust and confusion. So I would recommend to voters and to citizens more broadly to think critically when you come across information, check sources, who's posting it. Is it also shared by verified news networks? And we have to really have an open eye in this next year, especially because there are so many elections. It's a really important year regarding our information ecosystems.
Wow, you just added like a whole other little crinkle into that. That's like, you're so right. That's pretty scary. Sinead, at the end of this, just tell us, what other major advances do you think we might see in AI in 2024 that people may actually use or see in their homes or see in their doctor's offices?
Yes, I think AI is going to continue to be remarkable in terms of the pace of innovation in science and technology and in drug discovery and in medicine. I mean, AI has already come up with over 2 million new materials in terms of material science. We saw it progress drastically when it comes to AI in medical diagnoses and using it as a tool for radiologists, and then as well as in drug discovery. So we can expect more massive shifts on the pace of progress in science and medicine, and that's something that I'm really excited about, and that's something that we can expect to hear more news story in 2024.
Sinead Bovell, fascinating conversation about a topic that is just becoming all-consuming. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and Happy New Year.
You too. Take care.
Well, coming up, she is fresh off her own headlining tour and the Eras Tour. Now, Grammy-nominated artist Gail is opening up about being Taylor Swift's opening act.
And then she was like, well, do you like open up for people? And I don't know why I said this, because she was like, do you open up for people? And then I was like, I open up for people who ask me to open up for them.
You did not.
I did.
She's too cute. But it's not all just success for the singer. We'll talk about the challenges, too, from her mental health struggles to why she canceled a headlining tour. Our conversation next. This is Morning News Now. Let's end the hour with a conversation I had with Grammy-nominated artist Gail. She is a force, releasing hit songs you know and opening for a certain billion-dollar tour this year. But along the way, she has faced challenges she's choosing to be open about. And we do want to warn you, our interview does touch on sexual assault. We got a behind-the-scenes look at her recent tour stop here at Racket in New York City. I think you'll see just how special she is.
A, B, C, D. Chances are you've heard this song. But you might not have heard the story of the incredible teenage girl behind it.
I'm 19. I don't know what I'm doing. I do something, and the next week I hate it. Like, I'm just trying my best.
Gail blasted onto the scene when ABCDEFU went viral in 2021.
It helped my dreams come true.
Now, she's had quite the year, just wrapping up her own headlining tour, being the youngest artist on the Barbie movie soundtrack, and spending the summer opening up for Pink, and even at Taylor Swift's record-breaking Eras Tour.
I saw her play at Reputation at Nissan Stadium when I was 14, and then 4 years later, I got to open up at the same venue that I saw her play at.
But the success she's seeing now has been hard-fought. She struggled with OCD and anxiety, even getting physically sick before many shows. Being transparent about the challenges is important to her.
I really wanted to inform people how I was feeling and be able to have it be an open conversation.
One of the ways she does that, her songwriting. She's been at it since the age of 10 and creating with her best friend since she was 12. And on her second EP released in 2022, a particularly personal song.
I put out a song about my sexual assault, and it was really, really important for me to go to therapy because I knew what I was opening myself up to.
I was 15, I didn't want to cope.
I say when I was 15, I didn't want to cope, I didn't want to find hope. And I felt like that gave context to why I was so miserable when I was 15.
At just 17, Gail was set to embark on a headlining tour, but she made the difficult and surprising decision to cancel, writing in a post to fans that she was learning how to be an adult.
It was really intimidating to cancel that tour, but I just felt like it was the most respectful thing for my brain.
As a 17-year-old, right before you are pushing post on that message to your fans, was it difficult? Was it scary?
The thing that's interesting, I would say that my insecurities are going to be involved in it. So I knew that people bought tickets, but it would be hard for me to comprehend that people would be disappointed in not seeing me.
After canceling, Gail was unexpectedly available to perform at several awards shows, including the Nashville Songwriter Awards, the same year Taylor Swift was being honored.
So if I would have gone on that tour, I wouldn't have been able to meet Taylor and to have been able to open up for her. So I kind of see it as an ugly blessing. It was a big lesson for me to look at myself and understanding that taking care of yourself can work out for you in the long run.
You see, Gail's not only a Swiftie, much of her life and career has been influenced by the superstar.
She moved to Nashville, I moved to Nashville, and then she was like, I'm pop. And then I was like, well,
she did it.
Me too.
So, meeting Taylor backstage at the award show, a dream come true.
She was like, what are you doing next year? And I was so nervous. I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm doing music next year. And she was like, okay, do you tour? I was like, yes, ma'am, I tour. And then she was like, well, do you like open up for people? And I don't know why I said this, because she was like, do you open up for people? And then I was like, I open up for people who ask me to open up for them.
You did not.
I did. I did.
And this is also your first time
meeting her.
Gail landed the gig, opening for 15 dates on the highest grossing tour in history.
What was the Eras Tour like?
It was the most amazing thing in the incredible whole entire world. It's like having a summer fling that you'll never forget about.
And Gail said performing on that stage is no joke.
Taylor's stage is kind of almost like the length of a football field. Like it's so long, and it's crazy that they let you on that stage, and I can only ever make it to the middle diamond. But the last show, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. And I ran the whole stage, and it took me 5 minutes to run like the whole stage. Taylor also just like, any way she could help you, she just does, you know, like even the first day, like, and she does these things like not even people talk about, but she got me the most like beautiful flowers I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I've never seen flowers like that big.
Now, Gail just successfully completed her own headlining tour, right in the timing that worked for her.
The fact that your tour is called Scared But Trying, I know it means something to you.
But especially on the Taylor tour, I almost threw up before I'd walk on stage, like every single time. I found, especially in the past year, I'd walk off stage and these wonderful kids would come up to me and they're like, you're just so confident. I'm like, no, I'm terrified. Please make no mistake, I am absolutely terrified.
A truth she wants all those kids to know so they feel less alone.
So I'm still like really scared, but I am really happy with the past year.
I just adore her so much, and her being so open about everything she's went through. In the summer, she's also scheduled now to open for Pink again on the European leg of her tour that was just announced. That kicks off in Dublin in June.
I have seen the Pink tour
There you
on
go.
MSG, and that's fantastic.
Carnival.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So good for her. That'll do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, access denied. Former President Trump now off the ballot in Colorado, at least for now. It's a landmark ruling from that state's highest court. It says Mr. Trump's role in the January 6th insurrection and his efforts to overturn the 2020 election disqualify him from Colorado's upcoming primary. So what's next for the former president, and how is Washington responding to it all? We've got it all covered in just a moment. All of Mother Nature's holiday havoc from earlier this week now giving way to some clearer skies this morning. And that is just in time for what is expected to be some of the busiest travel days of the entire year. We've got your full Christmas forecast and a closer look at how America's airports are working to ensure smoother sailing in the skies this holiday season. In the Middle East, a showdown in the Red Sea. Global commercial shipping logistics are at stake. How the U.S. is looking to protect cargo ships under attack. And it has been a year filled with historic headlines and stories that have kept us glued to our screens. So later in the hour, we're going to take a look back at our 2023 here on Morning News Now. We have not seen that yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's in there.
Yeah. What did I do this year that's
some
going to come
serious
back to
stuff,
haunt me?
Some goofy things. Yeah. I think we have some hints of what's to come, all right? We begin this hour with that unprecedented decision out of Colorado that could have major consequences for the 2024 presidential race.
Colorado's Supreme Court ruled that former President Trump is not eligible to hold office again. The court cited his efforts to overturn the 2020 election and ordered his removal from the state's primary ballot. NBC News correspondent Garrett Hake has the latest.
This was a case viewed as a long shot by some legal experts, with similar efforts having failed across the country. But this ruling now sets up a potential showdown at the Supreme Court, as Donald Trump's campaign and his Republican primary opponents are blasting the decision, saying it should have been left to voters. Former President Donald Trump campaigning in Iowa overnight, making no mention of a bombshell decision by the Colorado Supreme Court, ruling that he engaged in insurrection when he tried to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The decision also making him ineligible to hold office under the 14th Amendment and disqualifying him from Colorado's March 5th primary ballot. The court repeatedly citing Mr. Trump's own words on January 6th as evidence of insurrection when he urged supporters to march on the Capitol and fight certification of the 2020 election for Joe Biden.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Mr. Trump's campaign calling the court's decision, quote, completely flawed and vowing to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The political backlash to the ruling instant, with the former president's allies rushing to his defense. House Speaker Mike Johnson calling it, quote, nothing but a thinly veiled partisan attack. His rivals also attacking the decision. Ron DeSantis calling it an abuse of judicial power. The ruling is on hold for now, with the Trump campaign already vowing to appeal. And legal efforts over the same issue have failed across the country, including lawsuits dismissed in Minnesota and New Hampshire, and a Michigan appeals court rejecting challenges to his candidacy just this month. Mr. Trump has been unaffected by his legal issues in primary polls, already fundraising off the Colorado decision. He is still the Republican frontrunner and still defending his most controversial rhetoric on the campaign trail. After his comments that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of America, critics pointing out Adolf Hitler used similar wording in his writings. Trump doubling down last night.
And it's true. They're destroying the blood of our country. They don't like it when I said that. And I never read Mein Kampf. They said, oh, Hitler said that in a much different way.
The Colorado decision has had the perhaps unanticipated effect of uniting Donald Trump's remaining primary rivals in his defense. It's not just Ron DeSantis, but Nikki Haley and Chris Christie, all calling the court's ruling politically motivated and arguing that if Trump is going to be kept from returning to the White House, it should be voters who stop him, not judges. No word yet from the Biden White House or campaign.
All right, Garrett, thank you so much.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savala. So, Danny, as we just heard from Garrett, the court has put its ruling on hold till January 4th. That gives Trump and his team some time to appeal this decision to the U.S. Supreme Court, something he's expected to do. How could this now play out at the federal level with the U.S. Supreme Court?
It seems a near certainty that the Supreme Court will take this issue up because it is just filled with a jubilee of constitutional issues and issues that really have never been decided before. It is a laundry list of really constitutional unknowns. And the reality is there's a kind of split in the authority. And by that, I mean of the 18 or so other states where this was tried, it was unsuccessful. This is the first state in which Trump has actually been removed from the ballot. You add that to the constitutional dimensions, the impact of this decision, and it seems almost a certainty that the court will take it up. And if I may make one prediction, it will be this. The Supreme Court will not be unanimous. That's because reasonable minds all along the way on this issue have differed. That includes the many states up until now that have declined or rejected this argument. That includes the many dissenters on the Colorado Supreme Court alone. Reasonable minds, including reasonable judicial minds, differ on the issues presented, and there are many. That's the other thing about this case that makes it very susceptible to being overturned. There are just so many different constitutional issues for a court to hang its hat on, or a hook jurisdictionally to grab and result in overturning this Supreme Court's decision, the Colorado Supreme Court.
So, Danny, we've seen, as Garrett mentioned, similar cases in other states. Some have already been swatted down. Could this ruling in Colorado have any impact on any other states, or does this solely depend on the U.S. Supreme Court taking this up and making a decision?
Colorado's Supreme Court's decision is cabined, and I guess in Colorado it would be log cabined to the state of Colorado. It has no effect on any other courts except maybe as persuasive, what we call persuasive authority, as opposed to mandatory authority. And in addition, Colorado is interpreting its own election code. So that obviously is going to be unlike any other state's election code. But the symbolic significance is far greater. The mere fact that this is confined only to the border of Colorado doesn't mean that other courts aren't sitting up and taking note, because this is such a well-reasoned, well, I mean, reasonable minds, I guess, can differ on whether it's well-reasoned, but they certainly covered every constitutional issue. There's something for everybody in this opinion, whether it stands on de novo review, which means they'll look at it with fresh eyes at the Supreme Court. That remains to be seen. But if you were betting, I would bet against this opinion standing.
All right. Danny Log Cabin Savalos. Danny, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Well, there are just 5 days until Christmas. Can you believe that? Already, crowds are building at our nation's airports. But even one strong storm could put a wrench in a lot of people's travel plans. NBC News correspondent Tom Costello introduces us to the folks who are keeping an eye on the sky to make sure your holiday travel is smooth sailing.
The good news this Wednesday morning, with 114 million people expected on the roads this holiday stretch and 2.5 million moving through TSA checkpoints each day, much of the country is now clear of volatile travel weather for now, though the floodwaters remain.
Winter weather will be a challenge. It will certainly be a challenge in the next few weeks.
Bordelis wind gusts as we're preparing for a possible ground stop.
At the FAA Command Center in Virginia,
Icelandic volcano is not expected to have any impact.
they watch everything from potential volcanic ash drifting out of Iceland to storms moving across the U.S.
A powerful low-pressure system pulling into New England.
In 24/7 constant communication,
Kennedy, possible ground stop depth of 2,300.
air traffic control, airline reps, defense, and national weather experts, all in one room.
Possibility of newer ground stop and ground delay program due to winds.
This is the heart of the FAA's command and control for the nation's airspace. If an airport anywhere needs a ground delay or ground stop, they order it here. Weather is always top of screen and top of mind.
If you put a thunderstorm in like northern New Jersey, it could have a ripple effect across the entire country.
All the way to SFO in San Francisco.
Yes, absolutely. San Francisco route delay advisory 39 is now active.
Managing that ripple effect is air traffic manager Jija Vingal's daily mandate.
So we do try to manage our high complex capacity areas to ensure that there's a smooth transition throughout the rest of this airspace.
Military operations for Miami Center have been canceled for this morning.
With nearly 50,000 flights both today and tomorrow, the FAA has opened military airspace and more high-altitude highways. But the agency is still short several thousand air traffic controllers, leading to mandatory overtime and an urgent search.
We know we need more air traffic controllers. We're working hard to hire from a variety of sources and keep them moving through the training pipeline.
All right, back here at the airport, and one of these nice folks just said, I heard what you said a few days ago, get here early. Yeah, do. Get here 2 hours early for a domestic flight, 3 hours per international. By the way, and this is good news, cancellations are running at about 1.2% for the entire year. That's a 5-year low. Delays are the problem right now because the on-time arrival rate right now is about 77%. They'd like it to be 80% plus. Guys, back to you.
Oh, all right, Tom, thank you so much.
Of course, weather impacts all of that and your holiday plans.
There we go. That means Angie Lastman is here to track everything for us. Hey, Angie.
Hey, good morning, guys. I got you covered when it comes to weather for really the next week or so. I know a lot of folks, as you just heard Tom say, are going to be hitting the roads and heading out into our airports. Here's the deal for today. Most of the country, honestly, 2/3 of the country is looking fine. No issues as far as weather. We'll see it be warm, of course, for the middle of the country, but plenty of sunshine and quiet skies across the Northeast, the Southeast, the Midwest, and even up and down the plains. It's out west that we deal with the heavy rain through the day today, with multiple rounds of rain and some snow possible for mainly California over the next couple of days, and then moving into parts of the Southwest. Friday, we know, is going to be a really busy day, and we do have some spots that you might want to watch for. Some rain will be stretched from the Gulf Coast all the way up into the Midwest. We'll see temperatures on the warm side of things, so that means that we'll see any precipitation falling in the form of rain instead of snow. We'll also see those wet roads and some difficulties in air travel out west for Friday, specifically the Southwest. And then look at this. We'll get some mountain snow by Saturday across parts of the Rockies. We deal with the rain across the south. It'll be still mild and still fairly quiet across the eastern third of the country. So places like New York, Washington, D.C., Tampa, if you're headed south, you won't have any issues at the airports there. But the snow, the wind, and the rain will be a big issue here as we get into Sunday, maybe gearing up for travel for Christmas the day before. Could be some delays in places like Denver, maybe Houston, Chicago could see some with some rain on tap for folks there. That system is going to continue to move east, and this is Christmas Day. Your forecast, low 50s for Chicago, dealing with the rain from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf Coast. We'll see plenty of sunshine, though, out west. Guys, the big spots to watch for tomorrow and Friday are going to be parts of California in the Southwest, and this is for you guys. If you're looking for snow, head to the Rockies, because It's really the only spot.
It's interesting
we'll
to see where the snow is. Not Minnesota, really, but
and
Seattle.
And not Detroit, where I'll be at.
Minneapolis has a little bit. Is that what that means?
I've been looking at the forecast.
It's going to be so warm that it honestly
possible.
I
see that we have
is
a
melting.
We've been packing this week, and we're not packing the warm coats.
Yeah, shorts and T-shirt, I don't know.
Minnesota,
At
yes.
this point,
Yeah,
exactly.
I have way too many things and places to pack for. I am
parkas.
Yeah. All right, Angie, thank you so much.
Turning now to the Middle East, where negotiations for another ceasefire between Israel and Hamas may be on the horizon. Leaders from both parties say they're open to discussing a pause in fighting and a possible release of hostages. It comes as the death toll in Gaza continues to rise and the humanitarian crisis there grows worse. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now with the very latest. Molly, good morning.
Joe, Savannah, good morning to both of you. May be on the horizon. Lots of people clinging to that. The drumbeat around a possible new deal this morning is growing louder. Hamas has said their leader is in Cairo, Egypt, for possible ceasefire talks. And this comes as Israel's president said Israel is open to a possible new deal that would likely include the release of hostages and getting more aid into Gaza. And with nearly 130 hostages still inside Gaza, it can't come soon enough.
Overnight, as new Israeli airstrikes pounded the Gaza Strip, Israeli President Isaac Herzog signaled readiness for a new deal.
Israel is ready for another humanitarian pause.
Intense discussions aimed at securing another pause in fighting to allow for hostages to be released and more aid to get into Gaza are underway this morning. As the U.S. works to free more hostages, it also has new concerns this morning about the ripple effects from the war. America now leading an effort to protect the key Red Sea shipping route against threats from the Iranian-backed Houthi militias based in Yemen. The threat's so high that shipping companies have already diverted some $35 billion in cargo. While nearly 130 hostages remain captive in Gaza, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant group releasing new video of 2 Israeli hostages, after Hamas also released video earlier this week of 3 elderly hostages talking under duress. The man on the right is 80-year-old Yoram Metzger. NBC's Richard Engel spoke with his son, Guy.
You don't have confidence in Prime Minister Netanyahu's efforts?
Do you think I should have confidence in President Netanyahu after what's happened in the 7th of October?
Israel has said Hamas is using the hostages and the civilians in Gaza as human shields. In Gaza, overnight strikes in the central city of Deir al-Balah. Civilians inside the enclave are paying an unbearable price. In southern Rafah, Mahmoud Zogru was in the hospital injured by an Israeli strike when doctors brought him the bodies of his son and daughter Aisha. Her grandmother Suzanne cradles her. She only lived 2 weeks, she says. Now one of nearly 20,000 people who have been killed in Gaza, according to the Hamas-controlled Gaza Health Ministry, a grim milestone on day 75.
20,000 people killed in Gaza since October 7th, that grim milestone likely to be reached today. The UN says at least 2/3 of the death toll in Gaza includes women and children. Joe?
All right, Molly Hunter, thank you so much.
Well, 26-year-old Noah Argamani has become one of the faces of the Israeli hostage crisis. Video of her kidnapping during Hamas's surprise attack, we're showing it to you here. This was at a music festival. It shocked the world as it quickly spread across social media. But despite the release of other young civilian women during a week-long ceasefire in November, Argamani's whereabouts are still unknown. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez is examining her kidnapping in a new piece for NBC News Digital docs called The Kidnapping of Noah.
After hours of silence, a video appears online.
The first video that I saw was Noah's drinking water, so I was like, oh, she's okay. So there's nothing to worry about.
We didn't know if maybe she's in Israel, in the border, in the house or something.
But then they see this video.
I think 10 minutes after we saw the kidnapped video, this was like a nightmare.
I remember that I was in my car in the parking lot. I was just sitting and rewatching it a million times, over and over.
What do you see in her face when you watch that video?
I would say she was frightened to death.
You can see it on her eyes, the way she cried for help.
An NBC News analysis of Noah's kidnapping video suggests it was filmed on this road here. half a mile from the supernova site. This location has a field and tree line like the ones over Noah's shoulder, and the buildings in the distance appear to be the nearby kibbutz Re'im when matched to satellite imagery. Shadows cast by the sun appear to be in keeping with the timing of Noah's last text message. It suggests they were heading southeast along this dirt road before disappearing into Gaza. For the next 7 weeks, Gaza echoes with the sounds of war. For Palestinians, a staggering death toll. Now, more than 18,000 dead, according to the Hamas-run health ministry, mainly women and children, and growing every day. But on the fate of Noah, there's only silence.
This is the worst situation because you want to stay with hope, but you don't know anything.
Were you hopeful she would come out during the ceasefire?
We were hoping that if not today, then tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, we felt that Noah is with us, you know. It's like we saw her with us again. You can just see it behind a glass, but you cannot quite touch it yet.
Across Israel, fear is growing for the remaining hostages, and alongside it, anger among hostage families, much of it aimed at the Israeli government. In a leaked recording, verified by NBC News, a freed hostage confronts Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
When you're negotiating with a group like Hamas, it's not clear that they are prepared to release all the hostages. I mean, our goal is to get everyone released. Hamas isn't going to release hostages because they've suddenly become humanitarians. They will only release hostages when they feel compelled to do so. And the military pressure worked in the past. It can hopefully work in the future. What is the alternative? There isn't one.
What we hear over and over again is they want the hostages to be the priority, not destroying Hamas, and they feel like the government is prioritizing destroying Hamas.
From our perspective as a government, yes, we see no contradiction between the goal of defeating Hamas, destroying Hamas, and getting the hostages out.
We wanted to understand, why did Hamas release mothers, children, even some men, but not Noah and the young women around her? In Washington, the State Department offered one theory.
It seems one of the reasons they don't want to turn women over that they've been holding hostage, and the reason this pause fell apart, is they don't want those women to be able to talk about what happened to them during their time in custody.
Does the Israeli government have any information that supports that?
We fear for the state of the hostages. Anyone who saw what Hamas was capable of on October 7th, the sort of violence, whether it's the beheadings, the burning of people alive, the rapes.
The full documentary is available to stream right now at NBCnews.com. Highly recommend. 13 minutes that are so powerful.
Sure to check that out. We've got more to come here on this hour of Morning News Now, including actor George Clooney, now opening up about his longtime friendship with the late Matthew Perry.
But first, the crisis at the southern border at a breaking point this morning. A new migrant crossing record set just this week, and there's no sign of relief in sight for local officials. We'll take you there next.
We're back now with the latest on the ongoing crisis at the southern border, which shows no signs of slowing down over the holidays. Migrants continue to cross into the U.S. from Mexico. Some ports of entry have now been shut down so Border Patrol can handle the influx in people crossing over. NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas joins us now from Eagle Pass, Texas, with the latest. Guad, good morning.
Joe, good morning. We are right next to one of the international bridges here in Eagle Pass, and as you can see behind me, large crowds of migrants are waiting in this field that Customs and Border Protection is using to hold them as they process as many as they can. You can see them wearing those aluminum heating blankets to protect themselves from the cold. Now this, as border officials tell NBC News, that the numbers arriving at the southern border are breaking new records.
This morning, the crisis at the border unrelenting, with thousands arriving daily from California to Arizona and Texas. On Tuesday, this field in Eagle Pass packed with thousands of migrants waiting to be processed. Men, women, and children overwhelming border officials. On Monday, Customs and Border Protection seeing a new record number of daily crossings, apprehending over 12,000 migrants at the southern border, with more than 26,000 already in custody, pushing processing centers to their limit. In Arizona, the overwhelmed port of entry in Lukeville still closed, while in Texas, international rail operations halted in El Paso and Eagle Pass, leaving shipments ranging from consumer goods to food and beverages stuck at the border.
But the problem is far more than just numbers. It's also a national security crisis.
This week, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signing a controversial new law allowing state and local authorities to arrest undocumented immigrants and even deport them.
So we anticipate with SB 4 that cracks down on illegal entry, that should reduce the number of people coming across the border.
Almost immediately, the city of El Paso and the ACLU taking legal action, calling it unconstitutional.
It's going to open the door to racial profiling.
The White House also opposed.
The law is incredibly extreme, and it does not make communities in Texas safer. It just does not.
With thousands more arriving every day, it's a crisis with no end in sight.
And as the sun rises, we're getting a better look at the crowds this morning. It could be as many as 2,000 or even more. I should also add that this week, a U.S. appeals court temporarily blocked the Biden administration from cutting the razor wire that has been put along here at the border by state authorities. This wire that, of course, we know has been quite controversial. Joe?
All right, Quad, thank you so much. Let's get you some international headlines, starting with controversy in France over a controversial new immigration bill there.
NBC News Forum correspondent Claudio Valanga is back with us with that and other news. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Well, it looks like, yes, that French politics is in turmoil after Parliament approved this very strict anti-immigration law that drew protests even from within the government. Now, among some other measures, the law reduces access to welfare benefits for foreigners, toughens rules for foreign students, introduces migration quotas, and makes it harder for children of foreigners born in France to get French citizenship. Now, the French health minister, Aurélien Rousseau, offered his resignation in protest of the bill, but others welcomed the measures, like the far-right and anti-immigration opposition leader Marine Le Pen called it an ideological victory. Let's go now to India, where dozens of opposition lawmakers called the recent decision by the government to suspend them an attack on democracy. 141 opposition lawmakers from both the upper and lower house were suspended this week after two men stormed Parliament chanting slogans and releasing color gas ahead of the debate over a controversial criminal reform bill. The opposition opposes the bill, warning, and I quote, that it could unleash draconian powers and impede citizens' rights. And let's end this tour of the world in Rio de Janeiro, where Santa swapped his usual sleigh for a bicycle. Instead of reindeers, he was accompanied by other cyclists who helped him deliver donated gifts to 300 children in Copacabana Beach and 20 baskets of essential food items to parents of poor neighborhoods in Rio. Now, that's the Christmas spirit. Back to you guys.
Very good.
Yeah.
Claudia, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Hollywood is continuing to mourn the loss of actor Matthew Perry, and now we are hearing from George Clooney. He spoke with Deadline promoting his new film, The Boys in the Boat, which hits theaters on Christmas, and opened up about his decades-long friendship with Perry. This morning, George Clooney is opening up about his longtime friendship with Friends star Matthew Perry, who died in October at the age of 54. In an interview with Deadline, Clooney says he had known the younger Perry since the Friends star was 16 years old, telling Deadline as a teenager Perry was a great, funny kid, eager to land a role in a sitcom, and he got on probably one of the best ever.
And I just won $1 million.
Clooney describes a magical time for both actors after they each rocketed to fame in roles that changed their careers. Clooney on ER.
Tough day to be a kid.
And Perry on Friends.
She's on the other line, gonna call me back.
The wildly popular shows were shot in studios right next to each other. Clooney even made a memorable guest appearance on Friends in 1995. But Clooney says after that breakthrough success, Perry was not happy. It didn't bring him joy or happiness or peace, saying it was hard to watch. Perry had been open about his struggles with addiction and the fame of Friends.
It's a disease that we have, and we don't know that we have it.
Perry was found dead in his hot tub. The medical examiner recently saying he died from the acute effects of ketamine, as fans around the world have paid tribute to the star and his iconic role.
Althea! Althea! What are you doing? I took a shot. You're shooting with Althea? Althea is correct. Nice shooting!
His famous friend George Clooney reflecting on Perry's legacy and his path to stardom, noting it just tells you that success and money and all those things, it doesn't just automatically bring you happiness. You have to be happy with yourself and your life. Next year will mark 30 years since both Friends and ER premiered here on NBC. Clooney remembers his cast bonding with the Friends cast while promoting the show, saying at the time most of the stars on those shows were unknowns. But within 2 weeks, they were on the cover of Newsweek, and everything changed for them all.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. Coming up, we are on COVID watch this morning with a new variant that the World Health Organization has its eye on.
What you need to know to keep your loved ones safe and healthy this holiday season, and more health headlines next on Morning News Now. Calling all dog lovers, if you're looking for a way to give back this holiday season, you may want to consider volunteering to raise a future service dog. Now, as you'll see in the American with Disabilities Act, service dogs are specially trained to perform specific tasks for people with disabilities.
Yeah, and the nonprofit PenFed Foundation says the current wait list for service dogs, though, is up to 2 years. That can be too long for those in need. Well, joining us now for more on this is the CEO of the PenFed Foundation, James Skank, and the president of the PenFed Foundation, Andrea McCarran, and also with them is Pilot, a service dog in training. He looks like a boy. Good morning to you all. Thank you for joining us, Pilot. Thank you for making an appearance. James, I'll get started with you. Talk to us first about this delay in people getting a service dog. How big is that problem? What's that time like for somebody while they're waiting? And why is it such a backlog?
It's a several-year delay because we don't have enough puppy raisers across corporate America. We have so many service members that serve their nation honorably that have challenges, and we have many with disabilities due to the wounds of war. And so you have a huge demand for these service dogs, and it takes a long time. It takes about 18 months for a puppy in training to be socialized, and then they go back for another 6 months of specialized training. So what my call to action is, we need more employers across America to allow their employees bring a puppy in training to work each and every day. It's been a wonderful experience for us.
Pilots just like me, you have to give me treats in order for me to respond on camera. Hey, Andrea, let's bring you in here.
That's under the desk. I feed Joe in commercial breaks.
Walk us through the process of becoming a puppy raiser. What is some of the training you need?
That's the greatest part of all, guys, is that you don't need any formal dog training experience. Just the willingness to open your heart and your home to a dog like Pilot. I received them at about 8 weeks of age. He's now 9 weeks, and I keep them through about 18 months. And my primary job as a volunteer puppy raiser is to socialize them, take them to the grocery store, take them, on flights to hotels, restaurants, live sporting events. You like the live sporting events, right? Anywhere, a concert, anywhere a veteran or someone with a disability may want to go.
You may let Pilot go if you need to. We don't want to.
But for only having it for a week, guys. You've only had it for a week. He seems so far pretty well behaved. Tell us about Pilot, James. What does the training process look like for him and other future service dogs? It's very cool to hear you don't need any formal training, but what is that period like other than taking them places? How are you actually training?
It's amazing for the culture. Again, it's socialization. So Pilot will come to staff meetings. He'll be at board meetings. He'll be on trains. He'll be on business trips. He'll literally be part of Andrea's and PenFed's life for the next 18 months. And again, she's teaching them basic obedience skills during those 18 months. But then Pilot will go back to Canine Companions, in which he'll be given 6 months of specialized training where he'll learn up to 50 skills to provide freedom and independence to those veterans with disabilities. It provides a whole new quality of life for them.
So, Andrea, how can people learn more about the work you're doing if they're watching this right now and it piques their interest?
Absolutely. They can go to PenFedFoundation.org and learn about our unprecedented initiative partnering with Canine Companions, the nation's first service dog organization, has already placed 8,000 dogs. And you can tell it's Pilot's nap time coming. Can you hear that little whimpering? You know, just like a toddler. It really is like bringing a newborn to work. Just like a toddler. He's like, I'm not tired. And then he will conk out shortly.
Oh, it's nap time for Pilot. My goodness. Oh, nope, he's awake. Pilot's up.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you so much. It sounds like a great thing for a family, maybe, right? Get kids kind of involved in something that's an active service with a cute dog in the mix.
I mean, can you imagine doing something greater as a family? And so many families across the United States do this because 2 years is too long for a veteran who needs the dog to wait. And I am going to put him into bed now. But it's also wonderful team building for colleagues because you can co-raise one of these dogs with someone else. And probably the best part of all is when you get to meet the veteran whose life has been not just changed, but 4 of the recipients of the dogs I've raised told me the dogs literally saved their life. You know, I liken it to donating an organ. And, you know, what a wonderful way to help. People are making New Year's resolutions right now. Resolve to raise a puppy.
Add it to your list.
Better
and you get a cute puppy in the mix. Oh, my goodness. James Skeng, Andrea McCarran, and Pilot, thank you all very much. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Well, now let's get to our weekly medical checkup. We have the latest on a new COVID variant being monitored by the World Health Organization.
Plus a new warning for people who use steroid creams for skin conditions. We're going to explain how it could be affecting your bone health. NBC News medical Dr. John Torres has to follow Pilot the dog.
How do I do that?
He's just as adorable.
Pilot the dog.
Good to have you with us. Let's start with the COVID variants.
There's
it's
no
called
treats.
JN1. The World Health Organization's labeled a variant of interest. What do we need to know? Are the symptoms any different?
So this is a subvariant, an Omicron subvariant. So we're still in that Omicron category. If you remember, it went from wild to Delta to Omicron, and it keeps kind of going. It changes, and these are little subtle changes that happen. And sometimes there's more than one subtle change. There's a multiple number of changes, and that's what happened here. When that happens, like JN1, it becomes more infectious, which is what the virus tries to do, become more infectious so it can spread. But it also looks like it's not any more dangerous. It's not really causing any more issues, but there are possibilities of having breakthrough infections. However, the vaccines we're getting, these booster shots, the new ones, do seem to be protecting us as much as they protected us against Omicron and the other XBB-type variants. And so the message here, you know, make sure you get your vaccination. We're coming up on the holidays, so again, there's more infectious variants out there, subvariants, so just be careful, mask, wash hands, all that good stuff.
Let's talk about the steroid one that Joe mentioned. This is like for inflammatory skin conditions, but it can impact your bone health?
It can, and that's one of the things they found out in a study in Taiwan, is that people using these high-dose steroids, creams on their skin, were actually having issues with osteoporosis. And the ones that are having issues, women more than men, and that it makes sense because women tend to have more osteoporosis issues than men, but also under the age of 50 tended to have more problems than those above the age of 50, which is a little bit surprising. And it increased their risk for not only osteoporosis, but osteoporosis-related fractures. So what are the doctor's orders here? Well, first and foremost, realize that these creams can actually seep into the body and become what we call systemic. They can get into the body and go through the body system. And so treat them like you would a medicine. Look at the labels on the back, use them the amount they say. And if you find yourself using them excessively or on a regular basis, talk to your doctor. Is there another cream? Is there a different medicine you can take? Is there something else you can use? Again, these are medicines.
And doctors, I feel like they're always saying 2 weeks max on often a lot of these
and something like
steroids.
and that's just talk. They might say continue to use it. They might change you to something else.
All right. Studies show an inability to burp can lead to problems with mental health. Walk us through what this can.
So this is your medical term of the day: retrograde cricopharyngeal dysfunction.
Wow.
Yeah, and what that means is you can't burp. And the problem is, if you can't burp, it's kind of like a relief valve. And so when you burp, it lets the gas out of your body. And we all have gas buildup. I know it's a great topic for this time early in the morning. Problem is, if you don't burp, you're going to
I don't.
Yeah, that's perfect. I didn't expect you would. My wife doesn't either. If you don't, you end up having stomach bloating. You have issues with not being able to eat as much, not feeling good. And they even say in the study, it was interesting, they even say you have issues with embarrassing gurgling sounds while you're in public and social events. And mentally, this can cause some issues, depression, anxiety, because you can imagine if you're having all these things. So what are the doctor's orders here? Well, doctor's orders are pretty simple, actually. You know, just you want to go ahead and talk to your doctor, because part of the study they found out is 90% of people didn't bring this up to their doctor, and also doctors didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to this because it's not something that's on the forefront of our minds. So don't be embarrassed about it. Avoid trigger foods as well, because we all have foods that we know can make us more gassy. And talk to your doctor about it, except for you. Except for you, Savannah.
For me. Oh, I love you for that.
All right. Dr. Torres, thank you so much.
You bet.
So much to think about. Coming up, all those lavish and sometimes boozy holiday parties, which could make you burp. Are they now a thing of the past?
It ain't so. There's a new workplace trend that has many workers letting off some year-end steam, and not in a good way. We'll explain after this. Welcome back. We all know how important it is to feel valued at work. For a long time, the holiday party was a big way to show appreciation in the office.
But with inflation and the economy taking a toll across many sectors and firms, more companies are taking a new approach to celebrate the season. Maybe not all employees are feeling the love. As New York Times business reporter Emma Goldberg explains in her article, quote, boozy nighttime parties are out. In their place are conference room lunches and mingling over mocktails. Emma Goldberg joins us now with more on this. Emma, good morning. So walk us through why some companies are choosing to move away from these lavish holiday parties.
Well, if you think about it, every single factor that has shaped the way holiday parties were in recent years has been turned upside down. People no longer go into the office 5 days a week. Companies don't necessarily have the lavish budgets that they once did because they spent the past 2 years doing some job cuts. There's a rising interest in sobriety. And then there's also new conversations coming out of the Me Too movement about what appropriate behavior in the office looks like. So you have this kind of tornado of different factors that are all putting pressure against the very boozy, over-the-top celebrations people might have once enjoyed.
So, Emma, a recent survey, this is from LinkedIn, found that 55% of employees said that they weren't planning to attend their company's holiday party this year. 55%.
Wow.
I mean, even if it's in a conference room, don't you want to see people? Why are people resisting this?
I mean, it's hard to overwhelm the pull of a couch. You know, people have gotten very used to over the past year, over the past few years, these new routines where they mostly get to stay home, spend time with their families. They've rearranged all of their habits to accommodate remote work. So I think it's going to take a little bit more than, you know, bite-sized hot dogs and spritzes to get them out of their houses. And I think in particular, the draw of like a conference room luncheon might not really be as tempting as maybe a blowout party would have been a few years ago.
I mean, a pig in a blanket can get me anywhere.
I was going to say, another way, we're getting lazy. Emma, we have less than a minute here, but what does this shift mean really for the future of work culture?
It's challenging because it points to something companies are facing, which is that they're going to have to work a lot harder and think more creatively to build communities in the workplace that are, you know, exciting for people, comfortable, but also fit in with the new habits that they've built up over the last few years. You know, psychologists say habits are really, really hard to break. And people had to reshape them all of a sudden really profoundly during the pandemic. So it's going to take a little bit more than a lunchtime mocktail to have people come up with different routines.
Lunchtime mocktail and pigs in a blanket.
There you go.
There you go. Emma Goldberg.
We're easy to get to a party, apparently.
We actually are. That is the truer words have never been spoken. Emma, really great article, though. Thank you so much.
All right, that was a good talker. Here's another one when we're talking about changing landscapes. More people now scaling back when it comes to leaving a gratuity amid that rise in so-called tipflation.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt it. According to recent data from payroll provider Gusto, service sector workers, though, in non-restaurant, leisure, and hospitality jobs made $1.28 an hour in tips on average. That is down 7% from the $1.38 an hour they made a year ago. Joining us now for more on this is CNBC reporter Emily Lorge. Emily, great to have you with us. Thanks for being here. So first, just like help us understand what tipflation means, why people are tipping less, especially I think a lot of people at home are probably, they're getting used to being asked to tip more.
Well, Joe and Savannah, I'm sure you are as well. You're seeing it. It's those iPads being flipped around no matter where you go, no matter what you're buying, asking if you want to tip 15, 20, 25%, sometimes more, sometimes it's in terms of dollars, but people are frustrated with that. And so this tip creep, this tipflation is causing tip fatigue. Now people are just struggling, and especially with inflation, with layoffs, now with the holiday season, there are all these new financial pressures. I think people are deciding to take a step back.
So we're fatigued from it, but what's the impact this is actually having on workers, too?
It's certainly having a different impact on different workers depending on what type of a worker there is. In 43 states in the United States, there's actually a lower minimum wage for tipped workers. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25. If you're a tipped worker, that's $2.13. So there are actually people in more than a dozen states who are making that sub-minimum wage, what it's referred to, of $2.13. And I went out to Austin, Texas. That's one of the places that abides by that sub-minimum wage of $2.13. I spoke with several workers who are making that. One worker I spoke with, he couldn't afford to make that, so he went to another restaurant that does pay. They are able to pay higher than minimum wage, but take a listen to what he said. He said making $2.13 an hour just isn't sustainable.
It's not dependable. There's days certainly where you come in and you would make $40 or something like that, and depending on how busy it's going to be that day, and if there's weather involved and how much business you have, you just don't make any money that day, and then it gets subsidized by your other days. Most restaurants don't pay you a wage that's your minimum wage for that day. It goes over the course of 2 weeks and they average it out. So if you have a really good day, you're actually paying yourself back on the slow days.
And to complicate things even further, according to the Department of Labor, a tipped worker is an employee engaged in an occupation in which they customarily and regularly receive more than $30 a month in tips. Now, nowadays, Joe and Savannah, as you can see, that could be just about anywhere you go, because with these iPads, you're really tipping so many different people.
How do we navigate then? I mean, I think everybody would probably agree they want to be tipping an employee where that's their situation versus, you know, on everything that you're asked to now. How do you navigate who needs this and who doesn't?
It really is hard to know, and I think it's important that consumers do think about this when they have that iPad and they're determining whether or not to tip, and if so, what percentage. So I think it's definitely important to think about, historically speaking, it's going to be those waiters, those waitresses, those bartenders. Those are people who typically are making that tipped minimum wage. And beyond that, you know, do your research, educate yourself, look into your state laws, and don't be afraid to ask. Maybe go to that manager or that business owner and ask them how they pay their workers.
That's a great question. Emily Lorsch, thank you so much.
Coming up, we are taking a look back at the year that was with a recap of some of 2023's biggest headlines that we've covered here on Morning News Now.
From war to mental health to artificial intelligence, space, LGBTQ rights, and of course Taylor Swift. We'll bring it to you all next.
Welcome back. There are just 11 days left in the year, so we wanted to end the hour looking back at some of the biggest stories we covered for you here on Morning News Now over the past 12 months.
That's right. 2023 was a year where the news did not stop, and alongside all the tough stories, we hope we managed to bring you a little joy too. Take a look.
This morning, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin is in critical condition.
Today is Catherine, Princess of Wales' birthday, but I'm guessing one of her presents will not be the book penned by her brother-in-law.
Saturday night's mass shooting has become one of the worst in modern history here in the Los Angeles area.
5 now fired Memphis police officers are now facing second-degree murder charges. 2 massive earthquakes struck southeastern Turkey.
We need help. We need the international community to do something.
On this day in 2022, Russian tanks and military vehicles rolled into Ukraine.
A community is reeling after 6 people, including 3 9-year-old students, were killed yesterday.
It comes a time where time itself is ready for a change. That time has come back here in Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm innocent. I would never hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never hurt my son, Pawpaw.
Engines full power and liftoff.
I want one of your jobs.
I want to do what you guys do. Y'all hiring back there? Let me know. It's shaping up to be a cruel summer for so many Swifties.
I went to her Eras tour in Nashville.
You are here to talk Taylor Swift.
You basically helped Taylor, I feel like.
Thank you for saying that.
This is the American dream.
16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot after ringing the wrong doorbell while trying to pick up his younger brothers. King Charles III and Queen Camilla were crowned Saturday.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
If I say what I really want to say, we're going viral.
When you tell people the name of the show, I'm guessing you might have to repeat it a couple times sometime for people, right?
If I say it in a Southern accent, I only have to say it once. Shucked.
Sus. It means something's like sus.
suspect. Like you are suspicious of it. That's sus.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has started busing migrants to sanctuary cities again.
Hotels are running out of space.
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates to a 16-year high.
Look at that sky, that smoke blanketing the field during last night's game. All that smoke is a result of wildfires burning up in Canada.
NBC News legal analyst Danny is here to break this down for us.
I'm dressed as Chloe Mellor.
Simone Biles is set to return to competition this summer.
A massive and urgent search happening right now to find a missing research submersible with 5 people on board.
Right now, there is an Australia-Canada game going on, and a penalty was just taken.
Welcome back.
Notice anything? It's a West Wing whodunit. We're talking about that bag of cocaine that was found in the White House earlier this week. American musical icon Tony Bennett has died.
What is this maniacal need to put people out of business?
The Screen Actors Guild voted unanimously to go on strike.
Lahaina town was just so shocking and devastating. The whole town was decimated.
This is the power of Hurricane Idalia.
But this is the first time we've seen a mugshot of a former or sitting president. More than 2,400 people have now died in the 6.8 magnitude quake.
Could there be a replication of life on Earth elsewhere? Of course I believe that.
An unprecedented attack that has become an all-out war between Israel and Hamas militants.
There is no electricity going in, there is no fuel going in, and there is no food going in.
I left a message. I have some pride.
Do you?
No.
A longtime Friends star died on Saturday.
Declared vacant.
It's the first time in U.S. history lawmakers have formally voted to remove a sitting speaker in the middle of a term.
The massive hype is now being referred to as Barbenheimer.
Samantha, are we going to the troll hole now?
Can you just come back
Jumping
here
in.
so you can read this?
Jumping
Because
in.
I don't like saying it.
Nice to see you all.
We are remembering former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. The current deal to bring aid to Gaza and swap hostages and prisoners is set to end today.
Floating is just the coolest thing.
Satisfying to hear that floating is as fun and cool as we all think it would be. Look at that. Look at the calling in all the way from the International Space Station. Thank you and happy holidays.
So many fun guests.
God, what a year,
and
right?
Costumes, apparently.
Oh my gosh, Danny in the orange blazer just brings a cackle every time.
I had left for that moment, so I missed it, but I get to
really
relive
did
it
miss
forever. Exactly.
It was something.
So,
It really got us all here.
and thanks to our entire team for putting that together.
Putting that
We
together
really
and the work they
appreciate
do to put the show together every day, and all of you at home for joining us. You're part of this family, and we appreciate you starting your day with us.
Incredibly grateful. You're going to take a few days off now.
I am, yep. Holidays, here we come.
All right, let's get it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Happy holidays.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.